Where is Killer Bean?
Killer Bean? We put his ass in the slammer.
Wait. Who are you?
Let me put it in a language you can understand.
The SDRs are having serious misgivings about selling their property. Many people who sold to rent are having serious misgivings about selling their homes because they are continually seeing the value of the properties they sold rise in value. Many who sold to rent cannot bear to watch the news or read the newspapers for fear that they will report another surge in house prices. Many SDRs are in denial that the houses they have sold have risen in value since they sold them and are trying desperately to keep a brave face and maintain in public that house prices are falling, whilst in reality they know that they have missed out on steep rises in the value of their properties since they sold them, and are kicking themselves for having become greedy and selling at the wrong time when the best option would have been to have waited and enjoyed the further additional capital gains they would have enjoyed if only they had not got so greedy and sold so early. Many SDRs are filled with fear and apprehension when walking past an estate agent for fear that they might catch a glimpse of what their house is now worth after they sold it, and they are making a conscious decision to avoid going past estate agents for fear of finding out how much the properties they have sold have gone up in value since they sold them. Some SDRs have developed a phobia of estate agent advertisements in newspapers and the property supplements in newspapers in case they discover by how much the properties they have sold have risen in value since they sold them. Many SDRs try to ignore and set aside the property supplements and estate agent advertisements, and when their friends read the supplements and see by how much the properties that the SDR have sold has risen in value by, they pull a face of unbridled and unrestrained glee that their SDR friend is missing out on having made so much money. The friends of the SDRs sometimes tease the SDRs by asking them by how much they think their property has risen in value by since they sold it, and some owner friends look up the value of their homes on the internet and gloat and shout out loud to the SDR how much their house is now worth, just to deliberately annoy the SDR and make the SDR feel as sick as a parrot. Many SDRs are having sleepless nights and breaking into cold sweats about how much money they could have made if only they did not sell so early. Some SDRs are finding the taunts and baiting that they are getting from their friends at work who have not sold to rent unbearable, but the SDRs try to keep a brave face, but deep inside the SDRs are feeling absolutely sick and that they have missed out on the further steep rises in house prices. Many SDRs are increasingly getting depressed as they see no end to the property boom and are becoming ever more miserable and angry with themselves, and some are saying that selling to rent was the worst decision of their lives. Not a day goes by without the SDRs having serious misgivings about selling their homes and thinking about by how much the property that they have sold has risen by since they sold it. Every day the SDR is reminded about house prices and wince and cringe whenever they overhear people in the office talking about how much their houses have gone up in value. The SDRs must be living a life of hell, as they are always living in dread when reading the newspapers or listening to the news or hearing people in the office talking about house prices, because the last thing the SDR wants to hear is that house prices are still going up.
Thank you very much.